Okay. And so Gemini, we're going to go through the 12 houses to look at your person and how they will fight for your love. So we'll see if they will fight for your love. We'll see how they'll fight for your love. And these are short-term energy readings. Energy changes all the time. So if it doesn't resonate now, I'll be back to do another. So please don't force it. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. Also, because it's a general reading, it's not intended to resonate with everyone. Alright, so let's take a look here. So Gemini here, this lets us know that we're in your house. And then this number deck here will let you know which house that we're in. So the first house is Aries. Second house is Taurus. Third house is your house, Gemini. Fourth house is Cancer. Fifth house is Leo. Sixth house, Virgo. Seventh house, Libra. Eighth house, Scorpio. Ninth house, Sagittarius. 10th house, Capricorn. 11th house, Aquarius. And the 12th house is Pisces. Okay, so we'll start in the first house to look at your connection with an Aries. Okay, so I'm practicing. I'm gradually getting better. Thank you for the opportunity to read for you. Here we go. Let's see. Gemini and Aries. Gemini and Aries. Gemini and Aries. Gemini and Aries. Okay, so Gemini, we're looking at Aries and how they're responding, how they would respond to the inclination that they need to fight for your love. Gemini and Aries. All right. Okay. Gemini and Aries. So the answer is yes, they will fight for your love. And it looks like initially it takes time for them to respond. Alright, it might even take them some time to notice. For whatever reason, they could be distracted. But it does say that they will initiate contact. Okay, so they're going to try to have a conversation with you. They'll try to look at your social medias. Look at some digital content, you know, they'll be doing their research. They'll be doing their research initially. So it looks like at the moment, like I said, this is short-term energy. Energy changes all the time. It takes them a moment to respond. It looks like it even takes them a while to notice. Interestingly enough, they might be distracted in something else. But when they do notice, they're going to do their research. They'll start watching you closely. It looks like in ways that you won't even notice that they're watching you closely. It looks like they're moving in silence. And eventually when they find out and they substantiate their findings, then it looks like dun dun dun. That determines how they're going to respond. So it looks like you're dealing with a refined Aries, mature Aries. They're able to exhibit self-control. They're not just spontaneously reactive, but they're calculative. They think about their responses. They're intentional. So that's what I have for Aries. Overall, the answer is yes. Alright, so let's look at Gemini with Taurus. Okay, and this Taurus could have some cusp energy. They could be sitting right on Taurus Gemini cusp or a Taurus Aries cusp. But this is Taurus, looking at Gemini with Taurus connections. Okay. All right. So, interestingly enough, this looks like they will fight for your love, but it looks like it will be an intense battle. Yeah, this could wreak carnage into your life, in your environment. It looks like they could shake the ground that you walk on, destabilize your situation. Make it looks like they could be vindictive. So again, definitely with this not being everybody's reading, because it certainly isn't. This one would be a Taurus that is unrefined, immature. Don't It looks like don't know themselves very well, and they don't respond to stimulus very well. They're very reactive and vindictive. They'll take it personally, needing to fight for your love. They will take it personally. So, hmm, hmm, yeah, okay, that's what I'm getting on this one. Let's look at Gemini with other Gemini. But again, as for that one, like I said, it's not intended to resonate with everyone. That's not going to be everybody's story. So for an example, if you're not dealing with an immature Taurus, that's not going to be your story. So there's certain qualities in the storyline that help to tell if that's your story or not. So thanks for dismissing it. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible if that one didn't resonate. Now we're looking at Gemini with other Geminis. So you, the viewer, the watcher, this is your reading, and the other Gemini is your person of interest. So let's see. All right. All right. So this Gemini that you're dealing with, okay, so first of all, it's saying that they have other options. They've been had other options. You're not the only one, and they're too pretty to fight. They think you're the one that should be fighting for their love. So that's the first thing that's coming into question um, for them. They have other options. They're too pretty to fight. You're the one that should be fighting for them. It looks like they start to view you as overbearing. And like you have antics. It looks like they're familiar with those antics. Likely because they themselves are Geminis too. So they recognize everything. They recognize what you're putting out. If they resonate with what you're, with what you're giving, basically, if they resonate with the energy that they're detecting and they decide to stay with you, which looks like in this reading they do decide to stay with you, although they have other options. It looks like they're sticking it in here with you. It looks like they find it amusing because, again, you're supposed to be fighting for them, they say. And also, now that they've determined that they don't want to consider their other options, they're more invested in your connection, intrigued by this dynamic. Also, the fact that you're Gemini and you're giving Gemini energy is something that they find endearing and familiar. So they start to then assess that your marriage material, that you could be the one for a lifetime. Okay, there's also, however, the possibility, because this came in a neutral orientation, that they figure they don't really like your version of Gemini, and they were considering marriage material with you, but they don't see that with you anymore. They find you petty and overbearing, controlling. And it looks like alright, so after realizing that, it looks like they go back to entertaining other options. So they've gone to realize this is not a connection that they want to engage with for long term or find it marriage material. However, it does look like they're not leaving without giving you a little bit of the energy you've given to them. There's somehow they're going to respond, but it's just, it looks like it's more on a get back. Tit for tat. They're going to give you a piece of their mind, and it almost looks like they're going to show up, like as if to let you know you're not the only one that they're with. Yeah, it just appears that they get a little bit petty, basically. A little petty. Like what they're doing is just to watch your response. And all along, feeling like you're the one that's supposed to chase. You're the one that's supposed to fight for their love. And they don't like the power play, the dynamic. But like I said, that's only half of the response. Now, going to look at Gemini and Cancerian connections. Hello in the chat. Alright, so thank you guys for your comments in the chat and your support on the video and on the channel. Alright, so Gemini and Cancer connections. Gemini and Cancer connections. Alright. So let's see here. Gemini and Cancer connections. So this connection says, you know, at the inclination that they feel like they need to fight for your love, they have the mindset that you're the one that needs to fight for their love. So that just pours the cup of love out. They start to have negative feelings about your connection. They think that that is off. You're the one that should be fighting for their love. You're the one that should be chasing them. It looks like they would attempt to check out of the connection. So this is a reading that does not resonate with everyone. If it's not your reading, please kindly disregard it. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. For an example, if your connection is one where your person did not pour out your cup of love and they didn't turn negative and bitter, you know, that's not your reading then. Let's see what else. Alright, but for this one, it looks like they checked out. They're pouring out your cup of love and they try to leave. However, they realize that they can't leave. They're more invested than they thought. So because of their response, it looks like they find themselves on the outside looking in type of dynamic. Because they tried to leave, they'll try to come back and find themselves at a distance from you and emotionally tied up in you still. They'll start to see that you are their person, And they're wondering if they'll ever have an opportunity to fight for your love, if they'll ever have an opportunity to come back. So that's what I see now for the Gemini and Cancerian connections. And so next we'll look at Gemini and Leo connections. Okay. Will they fight for your love? Gemini. Alright, so this here says initially they will fight for your love right off the bat. This one here, with that disclaimer that this is not everyone's reading, kindly disregard it if it doesn't resonate, because I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. This particular detail says, off the bat, your person has already determined that you're their person. That's why they'll fight for you off the bat, because they already have feelings for you. They have those feelings a long time. This is a connection where they had love at first sight. So yes, they will fight for your love. And it looks like they will try to find more creative ways on how to win you over. Okay? If they're unsuccessful with that though, then that's when they start to detach, disconnect. They'll have one foot in and one foot out. Okay, so they're willing to try to win you over. So it looks like, how will they fight for your love? It looks like they're lovers. They're not really fighters. They're not trying to fight in a toxic way. They want to win you over with love. And if they don't get a response from you, then they start to detach and walk out of that connection, because they're lovers, not fighters, and that's not what they were looking forward to having their connection with you. Now next we'll look at your connection with Virgo. Alright, let's see. Your connection with Virgo. Will they fight for your love? Off the bat it says yes, they will fight for your love. Alright. And it says they won't give up. They will fight for your love. They'll try to win you over with love. They might even try to buy your love. It looks like they could also become quite submissive. You might perceive them to be overbearing and controlling. And interestingly enough, they are trying to be submissive. And like I said, it looks like their intensity, their desire, their passion for you, it grows more and more. More fierce, more dynamic. Because initially they come in with a Page of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. And then by, the end of this reading, which is a short-term energy reading, they'll have the Knight of Pentacles. So their passion and desire for you increases. Alright, so that's what I have for Gemini and Virgo connections. Next we'll look at Gemini and Libra connections. Gemini and Libra. Gemini and Libra. All right. So there's a comment in the chat that appears to be narcissistic. Your comment is narcissistic because why would you come into someone's chat and assume that the reading is for you? You have a main character syndrome issue. These are general readings and they're not intended to resonate with everyone. If this is not your reading, please kindly disregard it. I will be back to do another as soon as possible. They're not designed to resonate with everyone. So someone who just would come into somebody's reading and assume everything is about them is very narcissistic. It's arrogant. But I wish you the best. There will be certain features in the reading that will let you know if it's your reading or not. So for an example, this particular connection with Gemini and Libra, for this one, there's currently distance. So if your connection is not at a distance, for an example, off the bat, that's not your reading. Even if there is distance, you take it with a grain of salt and let's see if it's your reading or not. Take what resonates, leave the rest. But there's distance. It also suggests that there is influence due to, there's like a retrograde going on. There's a lot of things. There's a Mercury retrograde going on. There's a lot of things that are happening right now, astrologically and in the world in general, in life in general. So it looks like there's distance and it looks like life is lifing, and that's the reason for the dissonance and the distance in the connection. So this says though that your person is coming back and that they will fight for your love, and that they will fight for your love by being even more loving towards you. They want to win you over. They feel that you are their person. In the time apart, the distance between you has only intensified their passion for you and has only more so concluded that you are their person. This is a connection that they want to fight for. The distance away from you has only taught them, shown them, confirmed within them that this is the connection that they want to fight for, that they want to be with you. So that's what this says. Okay. All right. Now, moving to your next reading is going to be for Gemini and Scorpio. Gemini and Scorpio. Gemini and Scorpio. Hello in the chat. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. That's a good question. Gemini and Scorpio. All right. So this dynamic, your relationship here with a Scorpio, says yes, they will fight for your love. Okay, they already see themselves as your person. So this particular connection, it looks like you have history. Okay, you've made them feel in a way that they're your person. They're your person. Now, the way that they fight for your love is interesting because they match your energy. They mirror what you're doing. So, for example, at the hint of them needing to fight for your love, they'll try to pull you back in to have you fight for them. At the first inclination that they need to fight for your love, they're trying to pull you back in so that you fight for their love. All right, and as it progresses, your love heightens. They have more passion for you and more love for you, especially as they can see that you will fight for them as much as they will fight for you. All right, so now we'll be moving to look at Gemini and Sagittarius connections. Okay, Gemini and Sagittarius. Gemini and Sagittarius. Gemini and Sagittarius. Gemini and Sagittarius. All right. So this here says, yes, right off the rip, they will fight for you. They will fight for your connection. Okay. They feel very confident that they can win you over. And also, they become more possessive of you. And anybody can get it type energy. They're ready to divvy up and serve anyone who they feel like is interfering in your connection. And they become more vulnerable towards you as well as the connection progresses. Like if they started out being stingy or holding back, they open up more. So, they pour it out. They lavish you. And they will even try to buy your love. The area of highlighted concern here is for Sagittarius especially. Be careful, because this looks like you could try to buy their love with resources that you don't have to lose. So it looks like it could become risky, reckless, and a liability. So be careful. The answer is yes, they will fight for your love. Now moving to look at Gemini and Capricorn connections. Gemini and Capricorn connections. Alright. So, yes, they will fight for your love. One area of concern that you should be minded of, Gemini and Capricorn, is that this could become financially abusive. It looks like they could attempt to deleverage you and your power, shift the power dynamic into their favor. And it looks like they're capable of becoming very dark, with hidden motives, hidden agendas, hidden tactics. It looks like they're persuasive to move in ways that you won't see or detect them coming. You might feel it, Gemini, because Gemini is really also intuitive. Geminis are also very smart. They will notice, most Geminis will notice little influxes of change. So they probably will notice, but it's intended to be beneath, below your radar. Emotionally disconnect and verbally cold, like have some cold words and a cold mentality, and become vindictive. So this appears to be a toxic connection at the point of them feeling like they have to fight for your love. It appears to become insecurities for them, where they'll try to, like I said, deleverage, do a power shift, you know, have negative emotions, lose focus, emotionally withdraw. But that still would be a yes. They would fight for your love. Now, looking to the 11th house, which is Gemini with Aquarius. Let's see. How will the Aquarius fight for Gemini's love? Gemini and Aquarius. Will Aquarius fight for Gemini's love? Alright. Let's see here. Will Aquarius fight for Gemini's love? So this says it will take a minute. Alright. It will take a minute for them to notice is what it looks like. Okay. It's going to take a minute for it to register, to process. It looks like because they're distracted, they're busy in their own life doing other things. But when they do notice, yes. So let me see how this goes. Just a moment. Alright. It looks like they're calm, collect, cool though. Alright, so first of all, they're taking their time. Secondly, they do, but it looks like they gotta do their own process. They gotta investigate. Yeah, that's almost, they're thinking about it. So, like, you know, it just brings up the disclaimer that this is short-term energy reading. Energy changes all the time, but it looks like their response is going to be very delayed. The answer is yes, though, because they do show up. They do come back into your energy. So this particular reading, going back to the disclaimer that this is not intended to resonate with everyone, this one would be like there's some distance between you. So it looks like they may have gone no contact for a while, or life just got in the way. Maybe both of you were busy. You've been out of contact for a minute. But this says that they would come back. Their energy would come back into your energy field. It even looks like you're so connected that they could even have had a dream, or you just came across their mind. You know, some ESP, they just feel your energy in the ethers. So they do come back around. But it looks like they take time to assess the situation. So they might communicate a little, you know, it's like neutral communication, like, hey, so how are you doing? You know, what's new? Real calm, cool, collect. And based on the feedback, for example, they might feel, something's going on with Gemini, but Gemini doesn't want to talk about it. So their process might be like, and I happen to be really busy right now too. So, and I don't want to talk about, I don't want to open a can of worms right now. The timing is not good for us to open a can of worms, but they'll come check on you, and they will be assessing to see, do you want to talk about it? Are you okay? Is this something that I need to act on in an intervention type way? Do I need to handle somebody? So this says yes. With these Two of Swords, they're going to figure out their method of approach. Do I need to intervene? Is there an intercession? Does Gemini just want me to leave them alone? So it looks, and then I'm on a cliffhanger, to be continued. But the answer is yes. All right. So now we'll look at Gemini and Pisces connections. Gemini and Pisces. Gemini and Pisces. Okay. So again, with the disclaimer, this is not everyone's reading. If it doesn't resonate, please kindly disregard it. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. This connection in particular says that you're out of contact. So this will be a connection that you haven't contacted each other in a minute. There's no communication for a minute. Alright. And so for this particular connection, it also suggests that the last time you were in contact was not a very good experience. So they don't see any value in fighting for the connection. It looks like they could have some memories about the way things went down in the past that they don't like to remember. They don't want to remember it. They've already dismissed it. They don't see any potential to fight for it. They don't like the outcome of how you fight, how they fight for your love. And this here also suggests that they would want to. They want to, but per their experience in the past with you, it brings about like a sense of pain. And it's almost like also fighting for your love seems like similar to Aquarius's reading, where they pick up in the ethers somehow, ESP, somehow something triggers them, reminds them, should I go back? Should I fight for Gemini's love? That's what it says. And then they're reminded of all the reasons why they shouldn't. And also, this could also be potentially like if Gemini reached out to Pisces, for an example, because Pisces energy comes into this reading like they're cooling, like they just regained some peace. They just got their mind back. They just started to get a sense of healing and balance. And then getting a call or feeling reminded of you again sets them off a bit. So, is that a yes, they will fight for you, or no, that they will fight for your love? I have to say, energetically, the answer is yes, because to determine that answer is if there's any stimuli at all, that's resonance that there's still feelings in your connection, that their presence hasn't left your connection yet. And it's just about the way that they process things. So the long answer is yes. But as far as me, do I see them actually coming back to make their presence known and to like physically fight for it, or you know what I mean, in your face type thing, or even subtly behind the scenes? I don't necessarily see that happening, except for in this case, while they're praying for their own mind back and their own peace and their own balance back, there also could be praying for you, praying that you will see their value, you know. And in that case, they're also hoping that you will fight for them, that you will come back and try to fight for their love, and also that you will be effective, like, you know what I mean, like calling them back, for an example, or reaching out to check in with them, for an example. That's something, but it looks like to the extent that your connection is right now, it's not enough. It's only enough to agitate them, to remind them, and it looks like it grieves them in the Nine of Swords. Nightmare of the soul, very uncomfortable thoughts, feelings. All right, so that brings us to the end of this reading. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate your support on the channel and on the video. Signing off for now. Until next time, peace.